Okay, then there might be some more coming in, but we will start anyway. My name is Katrine Weissten Bjerde. I work at the Directorate for Higher Education and Skills in Norway. I'm responsible for work on open science there. And we welcome you today to a session on training and skills, which, as we have heard both yesterday and today, will be a very essential part of succeeding with open science. So we have a group of 6 different projects, some of them also working in the same projects across different borders, but at this moment representing different initiatives. And we'll just very quickly start with introducing the first one. Luc Brinkman, he's working at DANS and for TU Delft. And here he will represent, he's the co-chair of International Network on Open Science Communications.
So, good afternoon everyone. I'd like to introduce to you the Open Science Communities Incubator Program, which is a 12-week program which we are organizing as part of Skills for EOSC. Can you still hear me when I move away from the mic or not? Just put it like this. So it's an incubator program. It's a 12-week program which we are offering for everyone to participate, to set up your own local open science community and connect your open science community to the international network of open science communities. I'm Luc Brinkman. I'm also presenting this, giving this presentation on behalf of Anita Eerland, which is my colleague from Radboud University. So, I don't think I have to convince anyone in this room or at this conference that we need open science. We need open science to live up to the challenges of our times. But how do we go about? How do we make this transition to open science? In order to make this transition, we need collaborative action at all these layers. We need policies and incentives to make open science rewarding and required. We need the infrastructure and the services and the training to make it possible. But I think the most challenging part is in the middle, and that is about communities. How do we make open science the norm? And when I talk about communities, I mean communities of researchers, the ones who, in the end, put open science to practice. But we may have a solution, and that is open science communities. Open science communities are local groups of researchers with a shared interest in open science. They're not open science expert clubs. They are learning environments where researchers can ease into open science, so specifically targeting the majority of this community consists of people who have very little experience with open science but are interested in learning more. An open science community is also a place where researchers can make themselves heard and voice their concerns or the obstacles and opportunities that they see to people involved in policies or research infrastructure. And it's also a place where researchers can learn to interact with stakeholders outside of academia to increase the societal impact of their work. I can't stress this enough, but an open science community is not an open science expert club. So the majority of people are here to learn, and a minority of the community already has practical experience with open science, which they are able to share with the rest of the community. So what we're specifically trying to do is not to target the innovators and the early adopters, but to target the early and late majority so that we can make open science a common practice. So the aims of an open science community are to reach and engage researchers to learn about open science, to inspire and enable them to actually put open science to practice, and to empower and support them to shape open science policies, services and infrastructure. So what does it look like in practice? It's researchers talking to their peers about how they make their data fair or which platform they use for open publication. It's about online platforms where people can ask questions about anything related to open science. It's about organizing workshops, putting them online, inviting everyone to join them or sharing the recordings, and also being present on social media. It's also about providing input to, for example, the national policies, for example, this one, the national policy in the Netherlands, where the Dutch open science community are playing a really active role in shaping the program. And it's about having a clear identity of the community, a visual identity, and a clear tone of voice that you use to address your community members. And that's why we also have stickers, water bottles, and these kind of things to create a sense of belonging. So the International Network of Open Science Community now consists of about 20 local communities. They started in 2018 when Anita and I started the first open science community in Utrecht University. That one quickly grew, and we also got support from our institutional open science program. We have now over 500 researchers that are active within this local node of the network. We also help people at other universities to set up similar open science communities and connect with the network. And now we have open science communities at all Dutch university cities, and we're active in 8 different countries. But we don't want to stop here. We want open science communities all over the map. So that's why I'm also inviting you, if you're interested in having an open science community like that, you're more than welcome to join our network. So that's why I want to introduce here today the Open Science Community Incubator Program. It's a program that has been developed as a part of, initially was supported by the Aurora Alliance, and now is being followed up as part of Skills for EOSC. So it's a 12-week online program where we help you to set up your own local open science community. The target audience are researchers and support staff. Both can initiate an open science community, and it allows you to connect with open science communities around the globe. And the best part, it's free. So we are now running the first iteration of this program. We're halfway through with our seven participants. And we'll be running our next iteration of the program in March 2023. And you can sign up at the website of the International Network of Open Science Communities. And as part of Skills for EOSC, we'll be offering this program twice a year for the coming 3 years. In this program, we will be following the steps as described in the Open Science Community Starter Kit. So these steps allow you to are prepare and launch, grow and inspire, foster and maintain, and dream and scheme. In the program, we put this to practice in 6 modules. In the first one, we help you to articulate your vision and mission. Then we have one module focused on community engagement. What kind of activities do you organize and facilitate so that community members have meaningful interactions with one another? Then we have a module on member recruitment. How do you inspire researchers to actually sign up and join the community? A module on stakeholder engagement. How do you position your community within local or national projects or events related to open science? There's a module on governance and sustainability. And the last module is open, so we're flexible to adjust the program according to what comes up in this specific cohort. So, what are the main results if you participate in this program? First and foremost, at the end of the program, you have your very own open science community up and running, with a core team, online visibility, and a lineup of events. And you have plans to foster and maintain your community for the coming years. So, with that, this is my last slide. I hope that I've convinced you that this open science community is interesting and relevant for you. Please spread the word that we're offering this incubator program to your colleagues and peers, and I hope that we also will see many new open science communities on this map at your institutions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Luc. Then we will just run the presentations in sequence, and then I ask you to note down any questions, and we will have half an hour for discussion at the end of the session. So there will be time to ask Luc and others questions. So the next speaker is Oliver Knoddel. He's a postdoc at Helmholtz Centrum, and he will talk to us. We will now delve into a more discipline-specific area. He will talk to us about the training catalog for photon and neutron data services.
Yeah, so thank you for the introduction, and yeah, today I will introduce our training catalog for a very specific community, because our PAN community is really related to photon and neutron data services in this case. And yeah, we started with a project, and the special thing here is in this community we have at the moment 2 EU projects. The one project is the Expanse project for European Open Science Cloud Photon and Neutron Data Services. These facilities are here in blue, and we have another project starting a few months earlier, the PANOSC project, with facilities also here all over Europe on photon and also on neutron science. So, and a special aim was it to build one platform for training, e-learning for both projects. So we started in our project first that we identified that there is no central platform for PAN-related teaching and learning materials, and we need something here. So we evaluated available state-of-the-art technologies for teaching and also for data collection platforms. We have recognized here that a simple, openly accessible catalog of materials where everyone can add relevant content for the community is very important. So here is not only the e-learning platform necessary, we need something else, a catalog for training materials. So we introduced our PAN training catalog with an additional attached e-learning platform to collect existing materials available anywhere over the internet, videos, GitHub projects or something else, websites, and a platform to announce events, special events for our photon and neutron community, but also to create and store blended learning courses. That was the overall goal, and we tried to bring these both projects together in hopefully one single portal or system. We are reusing here in this project or in these projects available systems. So from the Elixir project we use a test platform. From the Sign 2020 project we use an old e-learning system, eneutrons.org, and we used also Umbrella ID for authentication of our system. So the top-level architecture is a little bit complex. The PANOSC project started very early, so they reused an old e-learning system. And for this system, it is a simple Moodle in the end, but in this project, we attached further features, so a Jupyter Notebook integration, so that all courses have also the opportunity, so the students have the opportunity to evaluate programs available in these Jupyter Notebooks. We have an additional media wiki, but we need something else, so a catalog for training materials, and that is a part of the Expanse project where we want to collect really everything. So a simple example, when I have a video on YouTube, for instance, I want to add it to our community. It is difficult to add it in this Moodle system, because here I need a registration, I need a course where I can attach the material, and I also need the access rights to modify the course. So that is not the best place for such resources available anywhere over the internet. So here we have this catalog for additional training materials available anywhere. Here we have also the opportunity to harvest events and material from external resources, so that we have really a single resource where we can access really everything. And we can also show what is inside our Moodle platform by harvesting the metadata and providing them also in our training catalog. This is how the system looks at the moment. In the center of the system, we can search for everything available in our catalog, so materials, videos, also events. And on the front page, we show directly that it is possible to add content to the system, because here we need really content from our community, and so it is very important for us to show really everywhere that it is possible to add content. We have here also the latest things added to our system, our portal in the end, and we have here a direct reference to our e-learning platform in the back. So this is the PAN and Neutron training platform, and we can access here directly the e-learning system. For this here, I need no login. I need only a login to add content. But for the Moodle system, I need always a login because this is a blended learning system with courses. There's a teacher and the student, so we have a direct interaction, and maybe it is also possible to grade the student. So here a login is necessary. But we can provide everything what is inside here in this system over our catalog. This is a simple screenshot of our materials page, so we can show here really everything with attached metadata and so on. We can register new materials, and we can also apply complex filters on our metadata, and based on these filters we can then subscribe to email alerts, so a user can subscribe and the user gets the information if new material is included or added to the catalog or the Moodle platform. The landing page of each record looks like this. So important things are here: the title, the reference, where the content is located, the URL, and a short description. That is everything we need for the catalog. Everything else here, the metadata, is optional. But when we have much of metadata, it is better to search here in everything. So a beautiful system, and as I said, under the materials we have also the metadata of all courses available in our e-learning platform, and here on this catalog everything is openly accessible, so I can read everything, so I can see what is the description of the course, and when I want to access the course I'm forwarded to the e-learning system, and there I need in the end the login. But at this point, we have a really beautiful system where we can show really the complete content, the metadata of the content in our e-learning system, and also the training platform. So the training platform and our training catalog. We can also harvest events and show then where the event is. So also a beautiful feature, and we have the option here to provide these URLs, these landing page in social media accounts, and also to wait an entry, and then a new user can search in our complete materials and also show which is the best rated material in our catalog. So a wonderful, nice feature. And in the end, the last but not least thing is we have a workflow feature, and the workflows are here really important because, especially in our photon and neutron projects, we have often different kinds of data sets public available, we have analysis software available, and also the source code often. And we want to show also where the people, the scientists, can execute these programs and how we can bring everything together. So with this simple workflow feature, it is completely static, but we can introduce, or we can guide the student or scientist through our training. So we can start with a simple introduction, maybe the scientific publication, and then with the Jupyter Notebook and execute it on an EOSC resource. So this is really a beautiful system to empower the parent scientists to use the EOSC. And in the end, the community is really important for this project. We need the content, the materials from our scientists, and also we need to show that it is possible to create e-learning courses in our Moodle instance. And so the community feature is very important, and we list every content provider here on this page, and we can also access the content provided by a specific content provider. That is very important when there is a facility with evaluation training in the Moodle platform, and I want to search what is here available from this facility. So wonderful use case, and we can here also register projects, so our Expanse and Panos projects are here, and we can see then what we attached to our project or what we published for training materials here, and so we can show what happens in these projects. And we created in the end one single entry point to add new materials. It is a complicated platform because we have events, we have materials, we have an e-learning platform. So we have on the front page this simple decision tree where a new user can go through and then find the location where the material is best suited for. So we have the material in our catalog, the e-learning course where we need a course request, and then we can work on the course. So in the end, the last step here is the registration of both systems as EOSC resources. Here we have two EU projects, so we need in the end also two services for registration, one from the PANOSC project, one from the Expand project, and the PAN training system, the overall catalog on the top level domain will be registered from the HZDR, and the e-learning part, the e-learning.pantraining.eu will be registered by the content provider ESS as part of the PANOSC project. And that's it. This is our beautiful catalog, and I hope we get new content, and then hopefully it is really an entry point for our community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Oliver. You are also very much on time. Next speaker is Giuseppe La Rocca from the community support team at the EGI Foundation. He will talk to us about the value of research support networks for the uptake of EOSC.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. So in this talk, I'm going to stress a bit the importance of the network of skills of experts that needs to be involved in supporting user community. This is important if we want to increase the user base and promote the uptakes of EOSC. Of course, I will introduce exactly what has been done in the context of EGI ACE, which is the EGI flagship project, and then in the end I will try to promote how this best practice that we are adopting in EGI for supporting our customer can be expanded also in EOSC. So first of all, let me first quickly introduce the project for those of you who are not aware. So EGI ACE is the flagship project of EGI. It's a 30 months of project, started officially the 1st of January 2021. It's a service delivery project, which means that all the budget, most of the budget is allocated for the production and operation of services, production services for EOSC. So we have a limited effort dedicated for the developing activities. We are offering a solution for target researcher, of course, so scientific communities, also solution for the business entities, and of course to maintain our federation up and running. How everything is working. So we support our customer using the following three-tier model. So we start from the bottom layer, which is the infrastructure layer. So EGI has a long-running experience in federating capacity, computing and storage capacity, mostly from HTC because we supported a lot of WSCG experiment, but not only. What we have done is to extend this capacity with the cloud resources from public and private cloud, and recently also with the HPC. On top of it, we implemented these platform services, which basically provide the capabilities to facilitate the execution of data analytics, for example, with Jupyter Notebook environments. That was, for example, also mentioned before by Oliver. We promote solution to automate the deployment of virtual cluster on top of infrastructure as a service, solution to train model based on artificial intelligence and machine learning, and also orchestrator to facilitate the execution of complex and thousands of jobs in our infrastructure layer. What you see here are the three main areas of the PaaS orchestrator: the federated compute, the federated entity, and federated data. So we provide the glue to help the community, which you see here on the top, to exploit the capabilities offered by EOSC. So access the federated computing data and use the national identities to access the resources. So this is a summary of the most important achievements so far of the project. So we managed to integrate several services in EOSC. Most of them are now available there. In particular, the 15 thematic services, because from here, you see here on the top, we are supporting different community. We are mostly targeting the Green Deal, health and medicine, and the fundamental science sector, but we are also opening to new collaboration, and this is why we open a dedicated call for selecting additional use case. So I want to now move a bit on the how we support this user, because I mentioned before, it is important to promote these uptakes that we have the expert, a network of experts which can provide the technical skills and support for integrating domain-specific use case in our infrastructure. So we have two different channels to engage with the customer. The first one is, of course, the EOSC portal marketplace. I hope you are already aware about this portal. This is where you can find ready-to-use services with some capacity to support your research activities. Some of them are completely open. We have solution services with some pre-allocated capacity, and some of them require approval from the service provider. So before you start to use resources offered by provider X, you need to wait that you are receiving a notification and approval from this provider. Okay, this is the first channel that mostly target the what we usually call the long tail of science user. But this is not the only target user that we are looking for. So we have a complex request coming from different international projects, community, research infrastructure, etc. Most of them basically need not only to use dedicated services from EOSC, but to combine these services together. So they have their own application, and they need to integrate with the capacity offered by EOSC, but also with the different solution offered by EOSC. So to target this kind of request, we open this dedicated call for selecting new use case. The most important benefit of this call is that we not only provide the capacity and the services, but also the expertise, thanks to this network of supporter, let's say, which basically provide the consultancy to help you to identify the best solution offered by EOSC and make this integrated with your solution. So the open call is officially open. Every 2 months we have a cutoff date where we select, we try to analyze what we have received. And based on this information, we try to map this request on with the capacity, the skills, and the services offered by EOSC. So from a technical perspective, what we do for supporting users is to follow the following integration pipeline or support engagement pipelines. So we start from the collecting of these, sorry, I cannot see that, okay. So we collect the requirements from the use case, we do the assessment. So for each use case, we assign at least 3 reviewers that are responsible to assess the technical requirements received so far. Then we organize a consensus meeting where we collect the feedback, all of them, and if case of successful assessment, so what we do is to allocate the capacity. So we allocated the technical expert from the federation, which can, starting from now, support the integration plan of the use case. And we launch what we usually call competence center, which is a mini project with composed by different experts. So a network of different experts from the community, experts coming from the infrastructure provider, etc., that will help the principal investigator to integrate their solution with the EOSC. So all the activity, like co-design, validating of result, is performed in the context of this competence center. And when everything is completed, we support the integration of the new solution on EOSC. The two most important components, let's say, of this workflow, of this engagement process are the shepherd, which is the supporter that is in charge to provide the technical skills. This is the one that will coordinate the competence center, so this network of experts that will work together with the domain-specific use case and make this integrated in EOSC, and this concept of a competence center. These are the two concepts that we designed in our project. So this is another workflow that we adopt to allocate the capacity, so the solution, and the services and the capacity requested for supporting the use case. So with the requirement collected from the community, we do a matchmaking process. We basically try to identify the provider of the federation which can contribute and support the use case. We agree a service level agreement with the customer and operational level agreement with the providers. And in order to make sure that the services are delivered to the customer, we perform a periodical, we monitor the service delivery from the provider. We generate a service performance report every 6 months. And every year we contact the customer and we organize a customer interview to collect additional feedbacks. So these are the statistics collected from the project up to now. So we managed to support 38 use cases from different domains. You see here the total amount of resources involved. So we have 11 resource providers and 7 service providers of our federation that are actively contributing to support this integration plan. And what is important here is that thanks to this level of support, now we have a 3 new platform that has been onboarded in EOSC. So this is an important achievement of the EGI ACE project. So we selected the use case, we helped them to integrate their domain-specific use case with the capacity offered by EOSC and the services offered by EOSC, and now they are part of the EOSC portal marketplace. So my final takeaway message for this meeting is the engagement support network defined by EGI ACE, adopted by EGI ACE, proven to be successful. I presented a couple of statistics before. So why don't you try to expand a bit the scope of this network in order to support EOSC and promote the updates of EOSC in general. So I put here a couple of points that can drive the discussion, because what we need to do in order to further expand the scope is basically to define this network of supporters, so identify the supporters from the different initiative or projects that basically can contribute to support the customer, create this channel that can be used to submit the request for support, launch this concept of a competence center at the EOSC level, and what is also important is the training. So we need to make sure that the supporters are up to date with the different technologies. So this is what we usually, for example, organize from time to time. So we update the members of this network about the latest achievement, the status of the services, and this is what we propose for EOSC. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Giuseppe. People from Skills for EOSC were listening. And the next one out is Emma Lazzari, who is the project leader for Skills for EOSC.
Thank you. Thank you, Katrina.
Your presentation is open.
Okay. Okay. Okay, we can do it this way. Since apparently it is not possible to have it in the full screen. So thank you, Katrina. Thank you for introducing me. So briefly, I will try to summarize our project. Some of you have already been in the session yesterday, so you may have seen more or less similar messages that I gave. One thing that I would like to start with is that it is a very short time ago that the Commission announced 2023 to be the year of skills. So I guess this was a perfect timing for our project. And I've seen also during the plenary sessions that skills are considered as a major part of the development and the uptake of EOSC. So of course, we need skills to put open science and fair into practice. And this is not only at the policy level that we are discussing this, but it is actually meeting the stakeholders' needs. Now, maybe someone has said this before, but this is a very short survey that was launched online a few weeks ago, very informal, but one thing that came out was that everybody needs the skills. So we need training, we need training both to learn how to do things, so to put principles into practice, but we also need the training to remove all these myths, false myths and ignorance that is around open science. So this is where our project comes, and we hope that we can make our part to help developing skills in Europe. So we have 44 participants. It's a very big project. We are spread all over 18 countries. When we built the consortium, what we were trying to do was to gather together key doers in their region or domain or specific countries, but I'm happy to say that we also brought new faces to the scene. So we do have also people that are willing to participate in EOSC for the first time. We have S3 research infrastructures that cover domains, and the budget is around 7 million euro. The project will last for 3 years. So we just started now in late September. This is why I will not show you results, but rather tell you what we are going to do. Our main objective is to advance the open science skills, and we hope we can do this by unifying the current training landscape that, as you know, is pretty much very fragmented. And we also try to close the gaps that were identified in the industry, so the lack of open science and data expertise, the lack of a clear definition of data professional profiles and corresponding career path, and the fragmentation in training resources. I have to say that this is also part, and we have seen yesterday, of the work that is being carried out in the task force of the EOSC Association. So we had an exchange, and we will try to align our work in order to have things done. And not have a loss of effort in that. How are we going to do this? Well, first of all, at the center of this slide, you see the coordination part. So the idea is to create a coordination mechanism for competence centers on open science and fair data. And I have to say again that I was very happy to hear from Volker that competence centers are something very important that we should look for. So our project is trying to facilitate the creation of competence centers at national level in those countries that we cover with the consortium, but also possibly be the example for all the other countries that we don't cover for the creation of competence centers. And we aim at creating this very lightweight mechanism for coordination, because it is important that each country has its own place where to develop the skills, but it is also important that we all coordinate each other and harmonize the effort. So this will be the main aim, and we also aim to propose a fair by design methodology for open science teaching and learning. I have to say that there is a lot of out there. Many projects have already discussed this in their lifetime. So we are in contact with those projects, and we will build from their results to create this methodology, and also to apply the methodology inside the project for creating training material that can be reused at the level of the competence centers. With all this, we hope that we can raise competencies for the European workforce that is needed to participate in the EOSC. So we have a few key concepts in our project. First is the minimum viable skill set that may resound from the minimum viable EOSC. And this is more or less a mapping of roles and their minimum skills that they need to have to apply open science principle in their context. We will leverage on train-of-trainers approach. So mainly we try to multiply the force of people that can train final users. We will, as I said, deliver fair by design learning material, which can be reused, especially outside the consortium. We also aim at harmonizing curricula and learning paths in open science, and with this I refer to university at various levels. We will tackle also undergraduates and researchers at all levels of careers, and especially researchers in their specific context and community. We have this lifelong learning through professional networks, where the project that Luca was presenting before is part of. So the idea here is that we cannot train people once in a lifetime, but once they are trained and start working, maybe becoming a data steward or filling or having the role of other professionals in the open science context, they will need to be updated and to keep learning. And this can be done through professional networks, so we will try to foster these kind of networks with the aim of lifelong learning activities. And of course, the competence center network that I already discussed about. One of the nice thing I think of our project is that we are targeting different users and different stakeholders. So we have the part of science for policy, where we will train people that stay at the boundaries between science and policymakers. We will provide learning paths for policymakers and civil servants, so that they can know about open science, and they can reuse also the results of science. Institutions are another target for our project. So as I said, not only researchers, but also research support staff. In particular, we are targeting, of course, data stewards, data librarian, but also legal and ethical experts that are at the university. So with the part that they need to know about open science and fair data. Research infrastructures and thematic community. As I said, we have 2 research infrastructures in our project, and we are working together with other projects like Retrain Plus to create learning paths for people working both at research infrastructures, but also those scientists that need dedicated path to apply open science in their community and context. And then professional networks for the lifelong learning through their peers. So this concludes my talk. I hope that I was in time. And thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Emma. The next speaker is Jessica Lindvall. She's an associate professor in bioinformatics at the Swedish National Research Infrastructure for Bioinformatics.
Very unsexy, I know. Very long,
very long. But you're going to talk about the Elixir training program.
Yes. something like that. But now, yeah, yes. No, I'm more excited because I heard you guys, and I thought, whoa, whoa, whoa. So I just have a bunch of questions. Oh, yeah. Okay, sorry. Yes. Okay. Yes. So exactly. So I'm representing at the moment here the ELEXIR training platform, and I'm one of the executive committee members for this platform. It's called in ELEXIR, together with my colleagues Fotis and Eva, the current members of the EXCO committee. And then we have Celia van Gelder, who stepped down this year as one of our former EXCOs. And ELEXIR, many of you might maybe know this, so this is a pan-European ESFRI, so research infrastructure. And as you see on the map, we are really across basically all Europe, like the projects you heard as well previous here. And the goal of ELEXIR is really to coordinate within the life science domain the resources and to have them as one single infrastructure. And if you ever heard our director, Niklas Blomberg, talk, he really talks about ELEXIR is from the ground built as open. Open, open, open. Everything can be found open in ELEXIR. Basically anything. You Google it, you find it in Google Drives, even notes from the kind of head of notes meetings, etc. Everything can be found. So this is really a core value for us. We are 22 members and 1 observer, so basically 23 countries, more than 180 institutes that are involved in what we do. And the structure of ELEXIR basically looks like this. So the core of ELEXIR is the platforms in the middle. So we have 5 platforms, and I represent the training. And then we have the communities around that, and this is not the full, this is an old picture. We have a few more communities, so researchers that really feed in to the platforms, and we from the platform feed out. So we provide structure and guidance and help and support, and the community tells them what they need, and we support them. And this is truly an interactive research infrastructure. We really work together across everything, hence the dots in the middle there. When it comes to the ELEXIR connection to EOSC, this is how we as ELEXIR sees it. So again, the structure of ELEXIR on the left side, and then the EOSC ecosystem on the other side. So we really believe that the core, the platforms, that is the sustainable part of the infrastructure of ELEXIR, feeds into the sustainable part of the EOSC infrastructure. We have heard projects here before I came. They are projects. They will end. The outputs from them need to be sustained somewhere. Who will maintain? Who will sustain? That's just the thing. And this is the thing with the platform is ELEXIR. It will feed back into them, and we will make sure that whatever good outputs will be sustained and maintained, etc. Personally, I believe I added that with the dashed line in the middle. I think that the task forces, the projects, etc., are where we kind of intersect. That is where the communities come in, and we can feed from each other. Sounds horrible, but where we can bi-directionally get things from each other and feed back into our respective ecosystems, so that they are not kind of isolated entities. When it comes to the ELEXIR training platform, so I said it was 23 countries involved. The training platform is one of the platforms. We have representatives from every country. We have at least 1 training coordinator, part of our community, sometimes up to 3 training coordinators per country. So we are a great bunch. We have currently 3 EXCOs and then a node coordinator, so the hub centrally supports us with a coordination help to get everything smooth and rolling. This picture is not the full team, it was only part of us. But the key concept of what we are doing is that we want to establish a sustainable training infrastructure that is then supported and adopted by the node. So basically the philosophy down at the left side there is like someone else had that, for the users, by the users, for the community, by the community. I'm there to build the structure, but I'm also using the structure. So it's really a good feedback loop. That is the, yeah. And the kind of grassroots level is that it comes from the nodes' needs, the demands from the country, and then it goes up to this pan-European level and then kind of feeds back. Some key infrastructure elements, and this feeds back to some of what you talked about earlier, some of you. This is the things we have been doing since basically forever when LXC started. So we are working very much on having certified training events, and remember this is life science perspective, so we are operating in the life science sphere, especially within the data sphere at the moment. We have a train-the-trainer program, and we have a large pool of instructors at the moment, and really they are ambassadors for the train-the-trainer program. We are coupling the train-the-trainer program with data management and train the researchers, etc. All of these things. Really good community. And then we have tests that Oliver mentioned. It's a training registry. We have a training handbook. We have a training metric database to measure the KPIs, what we're doing, which is the policymakers and funders love that. And then we have different e-learning solutions. And that is one of my questions later on, that how with every e-learning solutions that is out there, fine, but how can we make sure that we easily mirror that each other? So if I want something from Oliver's whatever thing, want to modify it in my own thing because I need to use my thing, is that doable or not? I'm not a system developer, so I don't know. I'm just hoping that it's doable. So when it comes to EOSC and LXC training, this is the hashtag to be used if you want. This is our goal. We want to be an EOSC training provider for the life science community, or the life science domain. We have been working towards open science since very long ago, and as I said, Niklas Blomberg from the beginning really builds upon open, and we have taken that to open science and open education in the training platform. So we have been participating in the EOSC working group skills and training, and generated this nice report here in 2020. We also participated in the LXC NPOS work related on data stewardship competencies. And also now we made sure that we were part of the 3 task forces that is within the education and training advisory group of research careers and curricula. And that we are hoping, and the LXC test will also be a pilot for the EOSC training catalog. So summarizing that up is that the LXC training platform resources basically are something that is built across the whole ecosystem of LXC. So both platforms has been involved and the communities have been involved. We have these resources and that will feed into EOSC, and then the arrows should go back as well, because this is really something that we build on together. It's not me representing something, we are representing something here. When it comes to the impact we believe that we have been kind of doing and what we have helped with, which I hope that others will continue to work on, is that we're making training materials fair. So I think 2020 this paper came out, so 10 simple rules for making training materials fair. We have a training focus group on FAIR. Please join that if you're interested. Last week I came from the LXC Biohackathon. If you've ever not been to a biohackathon from LXC, go. It's wow. It's it's the food, and yeah, just do it. Really, 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 really. They have an ice cream machine. You can have all the day long. You can just go. It's wonderful. No, this is so strange. Anyway, so coming from that biohackathon, we had a training project on how to make training materials fair. Really, what is a lesson to what this makes fair. And the discussion, so it will be a handbook on that quite very soon released, because it's really, really in the final thing. Also coupled to learning paths. So basically a training material to make that fair. So a course is compressed of a lot of modules or small things. Should we break them out, put metadata on different parts? 6 slides will be having one method, whatever. Look at that. It's really, really beautiful. I'm so impressed of that group. I was part of a group, but it was really a good group. Super, super good. Anyway, the next thing is that we have been working very much with data stewardship and data management competences, skills and training, especially from the LXC Converge project. 21 of our notes are involved in that, where we design, build, deliver data management, data stewardship courses and materials. All should be openly available, all should be there. We are working on modules for the researcher, for policymakers, for name the role, and we probably are working on that. Oh, sorry, yes, yeah. And then we have the NPOS LXC Data Stewardship Competence Framework we have been involved with the 3 data stewardship roles. And then, of course, kind of the flagship from Converge is the RDM kit, which I urge you to look at. That would be nice, I think, for you. Yeah. And this is kind of our mantra at the moment. So care, share, scale, embed, and sustain. And some acknowledgements for that. So, thank you.
Oops. I was so fascinated, I completely forgot to look at the time. So our last speaker for this session is Heinrich Wiedmann from the German Climate Computing Center. And he's going to talk to us about training, delivery, and content integration.
Thank you.
Be able to just push the next one.
Yeah.
And one more. Yes.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you for the introduction. Yes, I will going to talk about training, delivery, and content integration for EOSC. So it's actually, I talk only about some general aspects here and some highlights and lessons learned. Okay, so this task, training, delivery, and content integration for EOSC is a task within the EOSC future project of work package 9, training and skills. So more details about this work package will be in the session on Thursday. Yes, I will come to this later on. So the main objectives here are quite general: to create a modular and reusable training program for EOSC. So this means to build training materials, in particular for self-study. We go for self-study and interactive webinars and courses, and coordinate and organize training events. So the focus is on EOSC-related subjects. So in particular, it addresses EOSC portal service, so that the onboarded services aligns with the core services. The core service of EOSC is, for example, monitoring, the help desk, and AAI support services. And we focus as well is on the whole onboarding process of resources in the EOSC marketplace. And what is important that we customize the training to the needs of the trainees, so to the target group. So it means in this case to the EOSC users, maybe already active EOSC users or potential EOSC users. That means to engage people to get part of EOSC and upload services. And then, so that means important is that we outreach to the research communities in the science project. And for this, we set up 5 so-called actor groups, so which address specific stakeholders. So, so there are 5 actor groups here. So there is the actor group 1 is for EOSC consumers, so mainly researchers. And then I will focus here on the actor group 2, on the EOSC providers, so providing of services and other content. And another actor group addressing to EOSC users is EOSC intermediaries and facilitators, so maybe funders or data stewards, etc., pp. And so 2 actor groups, they are more overall. So as well as we heard from the other speakers, so it's important to have to build a network for train-the-trainer. So this is the trainer actor group, and we have actor group for internal training. Okay. So some basic questions on providing resources to EOSC. So who is the target group? Already said, these are resource providers. This is tautology, so the resource provider offers services and other content to EOSC. What is provided? So what are resources? So mainly until now, these are services which are onboarded to the EOSC marketplace, but later on or will be as well data and software, etc., pp. But not only the services itself will be onboarded, but there will be onboarded or should be as well with additional in metadata and like documentation and guides and also metadata, for example, about licenses and etc. pp. So to whom it's provided, it's so finally uploaded as said to the EOSC marketplace. So how? So this is the subject training is addressing. So it's done via onboarding via the interfaces of the EOSC portal, and so especially in beginning of December we have a training event on this subject. I will come later to this. So, and the most essential question why you should do this. So the benefits to provide services, etc., to the EOSC. So there, your services will be visible, discoverable, accessible, reusable on the cross-domain interoperable platform of EOSC, and so you contribute to the development of EOSC into a rich environment of resources of research. Okay, so now I focus on the actor group 2. So who are we? So it's a group of around 10 people meeting bi-weekly, and then we will, this depends on the next upcoming events and the courses developed. We invite experts on the subject, and a lot of helpers and supporters will then be in these preparation teams, and so the participants is changing. And yeah, I said it depends on the upcoming events and actions. What we work on already said, so in one sentence to design the pathway for EOSC providers to guide them through the onboarding process. That means coordinating conduct events and build self-learning courses. So some kind of workflow. This is not only valid for the providers actor group, so this is quite general. So as said, so first it's important to make an outreach to the research communities and to make a survey on the needs of the research communities and the science projects, and as well look which training material exists already at the projects, and so based on this, then plan and organize the next events and next modules, and organize this with the preparation teams, as already said, and then more concrete per module, per training subject. We first have typically an initial training event, virtual or in person, it depends, and then create self-study webinars and courses from this, and to build and develop training courses and module, which then will be uploaded to the training catalog. Okay, one example. This is a workshop took place last week. This was a training about service documentation for EOSC providers. So I go not in a detail here, but it was quite successful. And it was based here as well on material already exists from a summer school of Henry Fair. Took place this summer, so one part of the summer school. And yes, and so we had a lot, some breaking groups working on different exercises. And what is important is to get and analyze then the feedback from the participants, from the trainees and the trainers. So in this case for EOSC, this at the end as well helps to get suggestions and the proposals to the developers of the EOSC portal, how there should be something of improvements, etc. pp. Good. What am I in time? Okay, I will hurry up. Here's a list of some upcoming events. So one as well on the 5th of December, as already mentioned, there will be a workshop or a training event on using REST APIs for onboarding new services. And then there will be another 2 days later on privacy policy and terms of use of services. And maybe in January, this is now it's directly to data. So in September this year, the EOSC launched the EOSC Data Resource Catalog. There are 2 aspects for how you make your data discoverable. This goes again to the actor group providers. And the other side of the medal, how to discover data via EOSC portal. This goes to the consumer actor group. And maybe further ideas, and maybe you have some wishes or want to see some training, please let us know. Okay, outlook and lessons learned, quite general. Training has to be oriented to providers' needs, and generation of training material is an iterative and dynamic process, and contribution and support from all stakeholders is essential here. And the feedback is very important, and to realize the feedback from trainees and trainers, and this feedback can serve as proposals for improving the EOSC portal. So, and again, I will advertise, and please visit if you are interested in more details here in the session on Thursday afternoon, building with the title Building Training and its Infrastructure for EOSC. Okay, I conclude here with a freely citing of an old soccer coach, trainer. So after the training is always before the training. Thank you.
So we leave Sepp Herberger there while we turn to our questions. I really support you. Oops, I wish we had a couple of hours more for discussion. But at least we have some minutes, and just ask you to, first of all, if any of you want to ask questions to the others in the speakers panel, please do that. And otherwise, of course, first of all, the audience, if you have questions or discussion points or anything. Yeah. And please say your name, say where you come from before you ask the question. Maybe this one. Nothing.
Yeah.
Hello. Oh, okay. Christian Borja from PSI, Switzerland. I have a question to the EOSC data sources. Is it called? You mentioned it is launched. Is that fully launched? Because last time I checked on their website, I could not find anything. I know the administrative side of things is moving around, but as an end user, I didn't find anything.
Yeah. You mean you didn't find anything about training, especially, or
training neither, but also not on the website. I did not find anything as a user that gets me to data sources.
Yeah. That's true. As I little bit addressed at the beginning, currently the EOSC marketplace is mainly for services. So, and to be honest, and I'm sure it's not really clear from the EOSC website at the moment. It's not the EOSC portal. You cannot search for data from the top. So there are data repositories onboarded, yes, and therefore, for example, there are as well discovery and access services onboarded as B2Find. But as well, as I said, with this data resource catalog, this is launched in September, this will get better. So in the future and in the far future, so this will be in 2 years. There is in the Fair Call for EOS project, we will develop as well a research discovery graph on top of the EOSC. But you are right, at the moment, to be honest, and so the EOSC portal at the moment is not for data discovery and search.
Thank you.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so one more to the materials, the training materials. Are those going to be integrated into the EOS portal or
Yes,
displayed in a prominent place?
Yes, I didn't address this. Venkat is still there. Maybe you can better. So as I said, there will be a training catalog, and but this is as well in progress, and there will be a knowledge hub where. But at the moment, Venkat, please correct me, or maybe Venkat can better answer this, because I'm not that much involved in this.
Hi there. My name is Venkat. I'm from OpenAir, but EOS Future we're package 9 as well. So the EOS portal, so for training and learning resources, they will become part of the EOS portal as well. So just as you might find data services, etc., through a search, just using the search box there, you will find these training resources too. And that's something that's being implemented at the moment. We're using its own metadata specification as well, and you'll be able to filter results, etc. And there's already a version that you can see there, but that's going to be further refined, and I'm hoping very, very soon there'll be a new version that people will be able to see as well that's public.
Perfect, thank you.
Does that answer the question?
It does. Thank you.
So there was a question behind here also?
Eva Natkova from the National Library of Technology. I would like to ask, because we heard about a lot of training resources, and what is important, like there is a usually theoretical part, what about this practical part of the training from the resources? So if someone of you could specify if how you deal with this practical part, if you have some tool where they can try to do it.
Yeah. Me? Okay.
You interpret and then I speak.
I interpret?
Yes.
So I guess that you are referring to a platform similar to what our colleagues from Panosk was mentioning, but you are referring for a more generic.
For the learning experience,
Yes.
that how you deliver the training or the tool.
I mean, there are a lot of resources, like technical
Yes.
resources about the theory, but then how they can practice it. But still, as a training, if there is such infrastructure. I give you an example. I have seen in Norway they have some special training platform. It is a repository, but can be used for educational purposes. So they can try. It's just to put there the stuff, and then it's not there. It is just the training. So for this practical training, if there.
So like a sandbox.
No.
Like a sandbox. Okay. So I usually when we do the training, we use some specific sandboxes for, like for example, Zenodo. When you train on open science, it has its own sandboxes. You mean some more general for the training? This should be part, I guess, of a specific training infrastructure like the one that you showed. Yes. So yeah.
So we had a training a few weeks or months ago. It was advertised in our training platforms as an event, in real life event, and in the event we used the Moodle system for education. So there were talks. Every resources was for this training event in the Moodle system, and then the students could all have also the opportunity to practice a little bit with our integrated Jupyter notebooks. So this was an event using the training platform, so our catalog for advertising, for additional resources, external available, and the Moodle system for the real life training. So.
I think it's similar kind of experience from all of us. I think that the different infrastructure have different things, and the different countries have different these kind of things. The Galaxy Training Network is an example as well for having implemented these things in there. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I can also comment a bit on this, because now I have been talking about the Open Science Community Incubator Program, but before in a previous life, I was also involved at Utrecht University in the Netherlands in seeing how we could implement open science in educational programs. And the approach that Utrecht University is taking there, but this is still work in progress, but is to develop learning paths. Now I'm talking about bachelor-master curricula. And the approach that they're using is they want to have they don't want a specific course on open science, on fair data, but to have it in small chunks and pieces, implemented in different courses. And you don't even have to call it open science; you can just call it science. So this is how we do things. But then the crucial part is where do you put it to practice, and that would be the bachelor-master thesis. So that's where it all comes together, where they actually have to put to practice, where they have to, for example, do a pre-registration, make that data fair, make that data openly available. But this is very new for both the students and for the supervisors. But this is the direction that I want to go in at Utrecht University.
Hence, they need training.
Absolutely, yeah.
And this is also pretty much related to what it's the aim of your training. I mean, what are you training about? And then you will need to find a way to practice it.
But it's a change of culture. The mindset of people needs to be changed. We need to have another, and all this with the incentives or whatever comes into this. Why should we be open? Why do we need to be trained in these things? What's in it for me? Because we are quite egocentric individuals. So I just take the opportunity then to ask all this group this, that you have been talking like, we have multiple hats. We've talked about specific projects. Of course, we are involved in a lot of other things. The challenge, I think, for me is that in my small ecosystem, to connect to all of you, to all of this. Because you talked about the open science community. Yes, that's one open science community of many out there. How do you ensure, or do you, do you encourage people in, for instance, Sweden or other places to establish contact with the other open science communities that are nationally? Open life science community, for instance, that's maybe specific in life science, but they have mentoring programs. Do you connect with them? How do we ensure this connection and bridging and not reinventing the wheel and working together more than, to spread? Du får börja.
One comment from here as well. I think you're touching on something that we need to, I mean, we can never ensure, but we can try to contribute and to work both nationally, well, locally, nationally, regionally, having events like this, having projects like Skills for EOSC, having projects like the others, and meeting and talking and having, now that we've learned to use webinars so efficiently, we should probably have that almost all the time. Exchange experiences and keep talking.
And I personally have really high hopes for EOSC, if that should be a permanent infrastructure where we can put everything. So the output from the project Skills for EOSC, the output from the EOSC Future, the output from everything, they will go away. What will sustain is EOSC. We need to be there. And I have high hopes of EOSC Focus. I'm not part of that, but to consolidate every project to make sure that you do not reinvent things in Skills for EOSC, because EOSC Future have already started something, that you take that and build upon that, or from whatever discipline it's out there doing something. And that is, I think, it's a danger. It's a real danger that we miss something.
I have a distinct feeling that we are beginning to really see the value of building on each other, and I think that at least in Skills for EOSC that is done extensively. There was another question, a couple of more questions.
Hello, Jan Hojak from the local Library and Information Science Department. Jessica, you talked about taking the services that were already there and the resources that were already there in Elixir and embedding them in the larger universe of EOSC. Was that a straightforward exercise? Did you have to adapt a lot?
No, this is definitely a challenge. We are not there yet. Due to the, Elixir as an S3 is taking really strong measurements in terms of the next strategy, the 24-28 strategy that we are currently writing, should really implement EOSC in it. And this to embed services in EOSC, if that is what you are talking about, and the training. And it's hard because, as any research infrastructure, we are not a legal entity. And to be on the marketplace, you need to be a legal entity. And this, I mean, not only for Elixir as a research infrastructure, but coming from a national research infrastructure, I want whatever we do as an infrastructure, it should be visible as the infrastructure and not on my local host university. So it is not straightforward, and that is, I guess, policy and legal matters that is beyond my pay grade. So no, it's not straightforward, but I'm hoping they will find something. Yeah, maybe you have something, or you, Matt?
Maybe at the same, we could, before that, we could take the next question. Maybe we could answer them together. Did you?
They're not related, so.
Okay. So you answer.
I just want a comment of your last. So I know this problem. For example, as you said, if you want to onboard a service to EOSC portal, you first have to onboard a provider, and then you have to enter a legal entity. And I said as well, this is why. Yes, so because this is a problem for, as you said, for some communities, and this is especially the things we have to exchange, and this I will bring again to the EOSC portal.
Because I understand the logic.
Yeah.
I totally do, because you can't have maybe some. I totally do, but from a research infrastructure perspective, it's a problem.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reasons why the legal entity is requested is obvious, because we need to make sure that information are maintained and updated. So this is clear. But it's clear that we need also extend a bit this, because there are other communities that cannot satisfy this request. PANOSC is another, because I'm involved in PANOSC, and we have similar concern, but we will see.
So moving things from a project into an ERIC is one step, but then it's more sustainable, but not really. Yeah. Okay. So your question?
I actually have lots of questions, but I'll restrict it. I'm Helen Clare from JISC in the UK, and I'm also on EOSC Future project. First question is to Emma and Giuseppe. You both used the term competence centres. Were you using it in the same way, do you think, or not?
Yes. I think, yeah.
Well, for us, Competence Center is a network of people working on supporting a specific use case. This network of people involves different skills and expertise, not only from the infrastructure point of view, but also from the community point of view, because we want to provide the right level of support for integrating, I don't know, bioinformatics community in our infrastructure, etc. So this is what for us is a competence center. It's a mix of experts from different...
Quite informal.
Yeah.
So, as I understand, it also have a time...
Can you take the microphone because it's recorded?
We have a coordinator, so each competence center is led by an expert at Shepherd, what I mentioned in my slide, and is responsible to coordinate all the activity, report progress, if there is showstopper, etc., etc. But in our scenario, this worked quite well because we managed to engage with a lot of community, and we are quite happy.
But it's limited in time. I mean, it begins and
in principle,
with the project.
In principle, okay. The end of the project, the limited duration of the competence depends by the duration of the GIA's project. So we are not forcing anyone to complete everything in 2 months, 3 months. The ultimate deadline is the end of the project, because after we don't have any funding available.
You had more questions? Yeah.
We have memo about
please use the microphone.
Just very quickly, I think the concept is quite similar, but what we are aiming to do is to create something that can be the one-stop shop for competencies in a given country, so that if you need to know anything about open science, you know that those are the people you should refer to, or at least they have the contact to forward you to what who you need to talk with.
Depends. It's 5:31, so those who need to leave. Those who have the time to stay are welcome to stay a few more minutes.
Another question for Giuseppe. Just interested in hearing about this from the networks that you built, and you said scalable, but they look very resource intensive. So where is that resource coming from? I mean, are these funded positions or are these volunteers?
Good question. I didn't mention because it was a bit. I didn't want to distort too much my message, but I put the two different channels: the portal, EOSC portal marketplace, and the open call. Right. To support this business model, we have 3 different funding schema. So from one side, we try to use as much as possible local fundings. So the funding is coming from national agency. So for example, if there is a request from a project or a research infrastructure from bioinformatics that requests capacity, cloud capacity for their community, so what we do is contact our members, the member states of AGI, understand if there is someone that is already supporting this community and receiving funding from their national agency. If this is the case, we put in contact the guys, and we use these local fundings to support the use case. If not, this is not the case, we have the funding coming from the project, of course, because the project is paid by the Commission with the virtual access mechanism, and there is also the pay-per-use model available. Because in our experience, we have also received the requests from projects with their own budget that are willing to buy for extra capacity provided by us. So 3 different funding models available for supporting this business model.
Just keep going then.
Is any other questions? Yeah.
So you have 2 questions. So
it is working.
Yes. Hello, hello.
Yeah.
No problem. I can see.
No,
So
you need to use it because it's.
Because we are recording.
I think it's right now.
If this
It's for Emma, for the EOSC for skills. It's about if there is any opportunities for stakeholders to collaborate, or do you have any open calls expected in the duration of the project for the involvement? Then for the colleagues from PANOSC and Elixir, so you are running a catalog of training, which is really important. So I'm also part of EOSC Future, that we are developing this catalog of catalogs, let's say. So if you are working in the quality of the metadata, in improving the curation of the catalog, if you have anything to share with us about that. Because from the analysis that we did about the catalogs, there are very good things, that we have very good resources available, some resources quite well described, but we have also a lack of, so dozens and dozens of resources that have a lack of representation in terms of metadata, etc., if you are doing something to improve.
Okay, I will start. So unfortunately, we don't have open calls in our project, but we have received so many expression of interest of organization outside our consortium to participate to the development of this competence center network. So we will find a way for sure. This is also part of our, there is a task in our work package that will engage external organizations. So we will find a way. We didn't expect to have so a massive interest, but we do. So we will tackle this, but give us some time to figure out the best way to do that. But of course, we are open to collaboration, and yes.
Helen, did you have another question?
Yes.
Okay, you wanted to answer more. Yeah, go on.
Don't have your hands. Can I use that one? Oh, sorry. Yes. So just following one thing with what Emma was saying, I think this is important for the skills of EOSC to do, because you say that you have key doers or key enablers or key doers, and there are more key doers in every nation. Yes. So even if you only have these on your consortia, they do not, I mean, no. So making sure that the key doers nationwide connect, I think that is super important, and it will be a better community. And the other question with the catalog and the metadata and the curation, for Elixir, this is a topic that has been on the tables for a few years, with the especially linking with the interoperable idea of training collections and trainings, etc., and with the metadata, how to make stuff interoperable. So we have both a working group when it comes to the biocurators that will help us with that, and also with, in the terms of, for the FAIR training group, with the metadata is also important. I don't really have any good do like that or how like that. So I'm not the best person to connect regarding that, but I know that it's work that we very much regard as very, very important, and we're working on that in the community. So,
thank you. I think we need to round off by now. I think, look, Emma, Arin, we are several, me as well, people from Skills for EOSC. We here. We'll tackle it in some way, as Emma says. So, and if we don't do it within Skills for EOSC, we will find other arenas. We need to connect. Thank you so much for your active engagement. Thank you to the speakers. And